everybody. Glad you're with us again. Thank you so much for all the cool comments, all the sweet words of encouragement about the series. I hope that all of you will hit the subscribe button and get ready for this journey. This is episode 5. And again, man, what cool comments. People from all over the world are joining us. And love to be by the end of the week, love to be at 1,000 subscribers. Wouldn't that be cool? So spread the word. Tell all your buddies that you think might enjoy this. And remember to ring the bell icon, because that's the only way that YouTube will notify you when new content is on the channel. So make sure you do that, and give these videos a thumbs up too. If you dig them, if you like them, that really does help the algorithms. It helps the searches and helps people to find the channel. And we really appreciate all the support and the positive comments and your suggestions and the things you want to know about and the questions. I read them all. And some people go to my Facebook page. You can like my public figure page on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at Gordon Moat. I've got an Instagram page too, at official Gordon Moat. I think that's what the Instagram is. Is that right, Parker?
That's right.
At official Gordon Moat. All right, Parker is our cameraman today. And so yeah, official Gordon Moat on Instagram. So you can leave the comments there, or you can leave them on the episodes on the YouTube channel. But I find them all and read them all, and I'm so grateful for all the people who are watching. I had someone ask me about the influences, a couple of episodes about the influences, if I had been influenced at all by Bruce Hornsby, and I would say that he is probably one of my biggest influences in my life. I met him one time, and we were doing a gig with Lee Greenwood back in the mid-90s. This was after Lee had come off the road. As many of you know, I worked with Lee right out of college. And then he opened a theater, and I stayed here in Nashville. And I'll tell more of the Lee Greenwood story in a future episode. But because of him, I was able to start getting some demos with some publishing companies. He kind of spread the word and helped me a great deal. And I'll talk about Lee a lot coming up, because he's been a huge influence on me and a huge flag flyer for Gordon Moat. He's been a real encourager and still is to this day. But we did a gig in Richmond, a corporate gig in Richmond, and Bruce Hornsby was there with his band, and we went on before they did, and then they went on. But at soundcheck, I was just goofing off and just playing all this stuff, and this person comes up behind me and taps me on the shoulder. I've got my ear monitors in, and he says, "That's awful good." And it was Bruce Hornsby. So he was very encouraging to me, and I appreciate that. But I loved, my favorite Bruce Hornsby record still to this day is the Harbor Lights album. I love the little... of ad-lib over that. So I've learned a lot just by listening to him and just being so mesmerized by his music. And so yeah, that was a good, I mean, man, when The Way It Is came out, you know, man, that was such an iconic intro. Listening to his music gave me freedom to kind of ad-lib in different ways of my own, and I think we all steal from each other, and I'm sure he stole from somebody, just like all piano players have. Yeah, Elton John, somebody asked me about Elton John, Billy Joel. I mean, I think any piano player would say they've been influenced by those guys. But I've been influenced, as I have mentioned before, by guitar players, electric and acoustic, even steel players, horn sections, string sections. I've been really moved and influenced by Nelson Riddle. That I've got you under my skin. That is one of the greatest arrangements ever. All those Sinatra arrangements he did were killer. But I've Got You Under My Skin is just, and World on a String, which I think is one of the first arrangements Nelson Riddle did. I believe that was 1952. Anyway, I'm a huge Sinatra fan, but I love the Nelson Riddle stuff. And of course, Quincy Jones is such a hero to me. I've never met him, but such a huge arranger in those days. And, he kind of changed with the times, He kind of reinvented himself all the time, as has David Foster. All the great guys, all the great arrangers, producers, and musicians. We all have to reinvent ourselves as the music progresses, so we have to progress. And so that's a big part of what we do, is just trying to figure out what the next thing is. What is our next thing? What is the next thing the producers want? And sometimes, in certain situations, we can guide what that next thing is. If we are creative and we, want to have that creative energy at all times, we don't want to get stale. And so sometimes we can guide to a certain extent what the next thing is. And so that's a pretty cool thing, being a session player in Nashville. So I'm very, very grateful for those opportunities. I had someone ask me too, and we'll do a whole episode on this, but someone asked me what I think about with harmony. And Tom Bukovic and I were actually working together a couple days ago, and we were talking about this very thing. And he said, you seem to use a lot of common tone harmonies. He said, is there any chord that doesn't work with a common tone? And there's really not. There are some that kind of are a little more, have a little more tension than others. But just an example, and like I say, we'll do a whole show on this, but because someone asked the question, I wanted to talk about it. But just check this out. I'm just going to play whatever comes to my mind. So I'll be in the key of G. How about that? Let's see. With the common tone being the G. Keep that, and you can go anywhere with that. And sometimes that's just fun, whether you're doing, common tone modulations, I love so much too. And there's just so many ways of getting from point A to point B, but the common tone modulation is one of the best. But yeah, we'll do a whole show on that, but I wanted to address that since somebody had asked me about that. I love your comments. I love your questions. Sorry that there's been a little bit of time between videos. Kind of been a busy week. I've been producing this week. I've been doing vocals with a Christian group called the Martins. And those of you who follow Christian music, you may know the Martins. They are a family, Jonathan, Judy, and Joyce. They've been singing for a very long time. They are amazing. They started singing when they were kids. And the last album of theirs is called Still Standing. And I produced that. We did that about 2.5 years ago, and it was up for a Grammy, Best Roots Gospel Album. Was up against my album, actually. And neither one of us won, but we sure had fun in Los Angeles at the Grammys. But they are working on a Christmas EP, so we've been in Christmas mode the last couple of days. And I'm on my way to work with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Shannon Forrest. Shannon is a world-class musician, as everybody in this town. But Shannon is a guy that I came up with. We kind of started playing on records at the same time. We both worked on a lot of demos back in the day together. And so Shannon has a studio at his house, and so a lot of times in these days, we record in people's homes that have wonderful gear and great studio setups. And not to take away from the great rooms in Nashville, but Shannon has a wonderful place. So today ought to be a lot of fun. But I'm so grateful that you joined me for episode 5. And we're changing the name of the series. It's not going to change the channel. It's not going to change the content. But we'll give you some details coming up very soon on how we're changing and what we're changing and all that fun stuff. But we're early on, we're learning as we go. I appreciate your patience, but more than anything, I appreciate the positive comments. Any questions or comments you want to leave, please do so. Know that I read them all, and I'll be, as I can, kind of, going back to those and talking about the things you want me to talk about. And again, please subscribe to the series if you dig it. Give the video a thumbs up, because that sure helps us, and ring that notification bell, because that's the only way YouTube will notify you whenever new content is on the channel. God bless you all. I hope you make this an incredible day, and we'll see you next time.